Hello, and welcome to the channel. Today I'd like to discuss Loki. I'm sure plenty of you are going to be very, very fond of that. Now, the story of Loki is one of the eldest in the mythology, as he is one of the eldest of the gods, along with Odin. In fact, he and Odin were expected to have grown together, therefore they made a blood pact, which is a very serious thing in our religion. Loki was born to his father, Thorvaldi, and his mother, Lofe. Loki is the trickster god, and the god of fire as well. He has very many humorous and treacherous tales, ranging from stealing a goblet because Thor likes killing them, all the way up to horrible, horrible acts. And we'll get to that in a moment. Now, I have my notes here, just to make sure I got everything done. One tale recounts that he once cut off the wife of Thor's hair, Sif. It was beautiful golden hair. Sif, being the wife of Thor the Thunderer, threatened to break every bone in Loki's body until he fixed the issue. Loki ran to the sons of Ivaldi, great dwarven blacksmiths. He told them of a contest between them and the dwarven brothers Brok and Eitri. The sons of Ivaldi had to craft beautiful golden hair, a ship that could fold like a napkin and always had a fair wind, and a spear that always hit its target and would return to the hand that cast it. These things were perfect, and Loki rode to Brok and Eitri. He wagered his head as a trophy for the contest. They agreed to forge a golden boar named Gullinbursti, who could ride over air and whose bristles shone in the darkest of darkness, as well as a golden ring that every 8th day would generate another ring exactly like it, as well as a hammer that could never break and could shrink in size for concealability. During the forging of each gift, Loki took the form of a fly and stung Broker harder and harder each time something was forged. The boar and ring were perfect, but the hammer's haft was much shorter than intended. Still, the dwarves brought their gifts to the three gods, who judged each one. Odin got the spear, Gungnir, and the ring, Draupnir. Frey got the boar, Gudrunbursti, and the ship. Thor got Sif's new hair, of course, and the hammer, Mjolnir. To Loki's horror, the gods judged the hammer the best of all the gifts. Broker and Eitri tried taking Loki's head, but he responded that he only offered his head, and they couldn't harm his neck because that wasn't part of the deal. So, as compensation, Broker sewed Loki's mouth shut as a reward for the contest. A later myth says that the king of giants, Thrymr, stole the hammer of Mjolnir and asked for Freya's hand in marriage if he was to return. Freya disagreed, of course, as she is married to the traveler Old, and we'll get to that later. Loki tells Thor to don a wedding dress and poses Freya to get his hammer back, which, interestingly, Thor agrees to. At the wedding, Loki excuses Freya's very ravenous appetite as that she was excited for the ceremony, that she fasted 8 days prior. When Freya was presented Mjolnir by Thrym as a wedding gift, it was revealed that she was actually Thor, big shock, who killed everyone in the hall save himself and Loki, for obvious reasons. Later on, Loki brought a man skilled in masonry to Asgard to build a wall to keep the Jotnar out. They gave him 1 season, and he could only have his horse to aid him in return for Freya, Sol, and Maumi. He accepted and worked so fast due to the aid of his steed that the gods charged Loki to fix the situation again, as they didn't want to give up Freya, the sun, and the moon. Now, Loki, to fix the issue, decided to take the form of a mare and drew the mason's steed away, stumping his progress. He revealed that he was a Jotun, and Thor struck him down. Later, Loki returns with an 8-legged foal named Sleipnir. Loki also has 2 children with his wife, Sigyn, named Vali and Narfi, and 3 children with the giantess named Argenbroda. These children are Jormungandr, the giant snake, the world serpent who grew so large that he wrapped around our world, Hel, his half-dead, half-young woman daughter, and Fenrir, the great wolf who was once loved by Tyr. Odin cast 2 of these monstrous children from Asgard, wrapping Jormungandr around Midgard and giving Hel lordship over the dead. Fenrir was fostered by Tyr. Loki then kidnapped the goddess Idun, who keeps the gods young with her golden apples. Without those golden apples, the gods begin to age rapidly, and coerce Loki into taking her back from the Jotun named Thiazi. The gods killed Thiazi to take Idun back, and later his daughter rode to Asgard to take revenge. The gods took Thiazi's eyes and made them stars, then offered Skadi a place in the pantheon as recompense. She agreed on 2 conditions. First, she would marry Balder, the fairest of the gods, and that Loki would make her laugh. They hid 3 gods behind a curtain, and she picked from their feet, oddly enough. She chose Njord, the god of the sea. They spent 9 nights in each other's abodes, and hated each other to their cores. Loki made her laugh by tying himself to a table, and having a goat tug at his sack. This made her laugh, and so she became Skadi, the goddess of winter and hunting. Loki then devised a plan to kill Balder, who was impervious to everything except for mistletoe, which again we will talk about later. He disguised himself as a giantess and spoke to Frigg, Balder's mother, to learn about his weakness. Balder's blind brother, Hod, the god of darkness, was subject to Loki's trickery, who fashioned a dart out of mistletoe and said to throw it at Balder. This dart pierced his heart, and he fell dead. All of the gods were in shock that their favorite among them was lost. So much so that Nanna, the goddess of night and Balder's wife, threw herself on his funeral pyre. Then Odin sent Hermod, his servant, to Hel to beg for her to return Balder to them. She agreed, but only if everything wept for him. All the gods, the Roker, even the mountains and metals wept for Balder, except one Jotun, Thok, who was Loki in disguise. And so Balder stayed in Hel. At a gathering in Aegir's hall, who is the god of the salt water, Loki drank so much that he ended up insulting the gods. This was called Lokasena, or the flighting of Loki. He said that Tyr lost his hand, that Freya had slept with so many men, and so on and so forth, until he eventually got to Frigg. Now, Frigg told Loki that if Balder was still there, Loki would not be. Loki responded by saying, "Yes, Balder, the son of yours that I killed." Odin would have struck him down there were it not for their blood bond. So, he formed one of Loki's sons, Vali, into a wolf, and forced him to tear apart his brother Narfi. They then used Narfi's intestines to bind Loki to a rock, and Skadi placed a venomous snake above him that drips venom on his skin to keep him weak. there he will remain until Ragnarok, when he and Heimdall slay each other on the Bifrost, thus shattering the bridge. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you'll have me on your journey.